Katy Perry there on 102.7. It's Mom FM 922, 22 minutes after 9 o'clock. Todd Sorensen back in the studio with us. Throughout the spring and summer, we're going to be checking in with Todd here in the studio. Todd, I'm telling you right now, Derby action, we've already chatted in our previous segment that you have upwards of, 55 plus shows this year?
55 shows right now.
That's incredible. And
we're down to 53.
Okay, there you go. Oh my gosh, you're just getting started. And a couple of them happened obviously this past weekend. But you had a blessing of, what's it called technically that
Blessing
you had?
of the drivers.
Okay, blessing of the driver. And how does that go? You had that up in Manistee, right?
Yeah. Well, we started out. Actually, it should be the other way around. We should do the blessing on the night before, but we did Farwell on Saturday night, which they had their first carnival, like I said, in years. And the place was packed. They had to park. The parking filled so much. They had people out on the streets parking. So Farwell Fairgrounds was packed full of people, and it was just wonderful. The grandstands were packed. 102 cars.
Yeah, I kept seeing updates on your social media, like, we got more cars. How does that happen? Like, it's just word of mouth, obviously.
Word of mouth, advertising, and points chase,
and people are like, well, we got that car in the backyard. It sometimes works. Let's put it in the Derby. I mean, can you do something last minute like that or not?
In stock class, you can, yeah. Because you got stock class, you can't do much to your car, but have a roll cage in it and a driver's protection. You got to have a hole in your hood.
Yeah.
So that kid that doesn't have a father, or that guy that wants to race one more time in his life, that's what we do the stock class for. It's great for the county fairs.
That's cool.
We had 52 cars in that stock class Saturday.
That's incredible.
And 44 on Sunday. Totally different crowd of guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, drivers. I mean, there was about 15 cars that came from Farwell to win to Manistee Sunday. So that stock class is just huge.
How many cars are actually out in the arena? I guess it would be. What
racing,
is that like?
Well, Derby, you can have up to 30 out there, no problem. But racing, Ward likes to keep it in the figure eight, like 6. And for the bump and run, it's from 6 to 10, depending on the car count.
Okay.
We had to have a B main on Saturday at Farwell.
like second, because there were so many cars. Like, hey, we got to.
We do round robins. You get a consolation for each heat.
Yeah.
And all the winners out of the round robins had their own B main feature.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay,
so my question is, when is the point where you are out? I mean, is it that thing isn't starting anymore? Is that kind of like the last point, or can you hobble around in the arena?
Well, in a demolition derby, you can hobble around if you're limping. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the last car running in the demolition derby.
Okay.
But the bump and run is a race demolition derby.
Okay.
Bump your way to first place and stay out front.
That's cool.
And then try to stay out of the lap cars. You know, if you get mixed up in the lap cars, they might give you it's a kind of an illegal hit when you're behind and you tap the leader, but sometimes you don't know who the leader is out there.
Yeah.
Because like Farwell, it's a small track.
Okay.
So there was some lapping going on. So I got my lap counters. I hands down to Sabrina Moore, who is a multitasking little great girl. Her and Trish together are a great team, and Kevin War, her assistant in lap counting. They had their hands full at Farwell, but they
cool.
did a fantastic job.
All right, and you've got a couple events coming up this weekend. Your first is in where? Standish, is that right?
Standish,
okay.
Nat County Fairgrounds, up in Standish. Yeah,
right.
It's always a good show, big track, just racing, bump and runs, all we're doing there.
Cool.
There'll be a good car count there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's where we hold our bump and run state championship, so they like to come run that track and make sure they like it for the championship.
Get some practice in there. Yeah. Before we actually go into Wexford County, because you've got one in Cadillac, you had some winners this past weekend too, right?
We'll go over them real quick. At Farwell, we had the first, I'm just going to say the first place winners, unless there was a real big battle.
Yeah.
We had a powder puff. We had 10 ladies in the powder puff, which is awesome. Christy Lee out of Lake, Michigan, she got first place that night in the 20Z. Great driving, was her first overall win, so she was pretty excited. Good job, Christina Lee, I'm sorry. Great job to her. Then we had the stock figure eight feature, which was a heck of a battle. A guy out of the UP, his name's Marcus Galloway out of the Sioux. he's only ran like 1 or 2 figure eights in his life, and so he ran both because we had bump and run and figure eight that night.
Okay.
Had a hard time in the bump and run because there were so many cars, and heck with it, I'm signing up for the figure eight too. He went and won overall winner in the bump and run.
Cool
He had a
luck
tough
there.
battle with Trevor Pickard, and it was a fun race, you know.
That's cool.
The mod figure eight was a real close race. Billy Simpson leading the whole race for like 8 laps, and then Tony Gilbert got him on the 8th lap and took the win out there. So that was pretty exciting for Tony to get that win right at the last minute there.
Nice job there.
Big car win for the figure eight was Mike Hamilton. He put on his motor sounded real good this year. He did a real great job out there.
And when you talk about big car, is that literally the description that we're talking about?
Big car V8 class, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
All right.
with rear wheel drive.
Cool.
Stock bump and run A main. Oh man, that was a heck of a battle. I mean, Brett Silva out of Alpina runs a 4-cylinder car and can give them 6-cylinder guys a run for their money. He can lead. He was leading for a while both nights at Manistee and in Farwell, and he took second on Saturday night in the A main in Farwell with Chase Faust taking first place at the end of the night, which was a great race.
Cool.
Oh, the Farwell Gut and Go Derby. Michael Monroe won that at the end of the night, and the youth winner that day at Farwell was Peyton Rushlow.
That's cool.
Little bit of girl, and I felt bad because I said Peyton because that could be a boy or girl's name, and I should know who it was, but I get just like I said. When I'm announcing, it's tough for me. That's why I have Sherman announce a lot because when I'm announcing, I'm just excited.
Well,
as
you
them
get
drivers.
into it. I
love it. You know,
That's a pretty
Peyton
cool.
Rushlow. She got out and she was she's like maybe 5 foot tall. She got out just cheering. She was happier than everybody. It was neat seeing her cheer on. You know, B main was Kyle Hoy. He ran a good race too.
That's
so
cool.
then
And,
we go to Scottville, Manistee at the Blessing. Grace Shimke took the Powder Puff win in a minivan.
Really?
Yeah, she drove her. We always say it was her mom's minivan that she stole from her mom the night before. Her and her dad John gutted it out the night before the show and brought it out there. She's a good driver. The young drivers in that Powder Puff are catching up to some of the elders and putting a great show on. I mean, they rock it out there.
Do the other drivers, do they come up complaining, though, and say, she's in a van or he's in a truck or something like that? I mean, how does that...
I've heard it at other places, but for some reason with us, I don't hear it very much.
Okay, no, that's good.
You know, cars are getting hard to find, and a lot of drivers know that. And the minivans, you know, I'd rather run against a minivan if it's on a car because they're a big tank, and once you spin them out, it's hard for them to get back in the program.
Right.
You know, so
strategy there.
yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
But Grace, she seems to like that. She was a Grand Prix driver. You know, she liked her Grand Prix, but her dad found a minivan and for some reason put her in it, and she does better in the van now than she does in an actual Grand Prix. So
That's pretty cool.
Good kid.
We are talking with Todd Sorensen from TNT Demolition Derby today. We'll pick up a couple more winners here in a moment, but let's talk about, let's kind of change the subject for a moment and talk about this weekend. You've got Cadillac, and when you and I sat down a month ago or so, you were really hyped up about what happens at the Wexford County Fairgrounds there, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend there.
And what's it called again?
Wexford War Zone.
Okay. And is it same sort of idea, or is it like spruced up demolition derby?
Oh, it's a mixture, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We do the teams, 2-man team demolition derbies. This year we're actually going to do heats with the motor swap big cars on Friday night, which, like I said before, we haven't done heats and big car demolition derby in a long time. So it's going to be a pretty exciting Friday night. And then the end of the show Friday night, we're doing that co-pilot heat where...
Oh, yeah, you talked about that before.
You're steering and I'm shifting and gassing, so it's going to be the two guys got to put their heads together out there to win that heat. You know,
that's funny. Does it actually get entertaining though? It must in a situation like that.
Yeah, because there's one time I saw a guy look at his other driver and go, "What'd you just do that for? We hit the wall."
Can't imagine the conversations that happen in there.
But yeah, and like I said, all day Friday. I mean, the pits open up Friday morning at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So they're watching inspection and all that, and we're gonna have derby vendors there selling parts from all over, and Saturday again, pit opens up at 9 and show starts at 1 on Saturday. So you can either buy a 2-day pass or just a 1-day pass, but a lot of it people will buy 2-day passes because there's a lot of camping going on there next weekend.
And people travel to these events. I mean, this isn't, even though we're talking about in Cadillac at the Wexford Civic Center there, Wexford Fairgrounds, that it is worth traveling because of the experience, but also there's a lot of family environment that comes from Demolition Derby, right?
Yes, sir.
Take us through that if you don't mind.
Family, like I said, we have the Power Wheels for the young one.
Yeah, that's great.
Because if you bring a Power Wheels kid, the kid doesn't. We don't charge the Power Wheel kids to race, but if the kid doesn't come with a Power Wheels, his parents get charged for him to be in the pits because of safety and all that stuff. If he's not a contender.
Wait, they're actually like driving Power Wheels.
Yeah, they wear the kids' helmets and they race. So they derby. In Michigan, it's usually they race.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
All right. I'm looking forward to that. Anything that we missed talking about for this weekend?
This weekend, we're in Standish. Like I said, we'll be there tomorrow. Pit gate opens at 2. Race starts at 7. Drivers being in at 6:30. But I like going over them drivers every week to show the appreciation to them, and that's a wonderful thing. And we're going to have a long season, and I appreciate all my help.
Absolutely. Any last minute shout outs before we wrap up this morning?
Sabrina Moore, thank you for all you do. And shout out to Trish. It's been 9 years this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Your anniversary is this weekend, right?
Yeah. Cool. It's been 9 years since we decided after 25 plus years we're going to be together. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at. God bless my whole team, and God bless you for doing what you're doing, bud.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thanks for being a part of it. By the way, your son reached out to me on Facebook after our last segment, and he said, Chris, we need to get you behind the wheel. Now, let's just clarify. I am scared as all get out to do that. And I can't even imagine doing that. I'm scared. Is that
the
bad?
barrel race would be kind of cool for you to try that. You filmed that a little bit at the fair last year at Ludington. That'd be cool.
Dude, I would have a target. Like people would be like, "There he is. Let's go get him." Right?
You can't be no more target than a cop.
That is true. I saw that.
Hey, if you want to come out there, we'll put you in a minivan out there so you feel safe.
You just told me the minivans are not the best to do that.
If it's barrel racing, we'll try you. I think we'll get you a barrel racing car out there.
All right, sounds like a plan. We'll try to figure that out.
Derby fans, thank you for all you do out there.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a good relationship between that driver, the fan, and the crews and everybody. So we appreciate you, Todd, all that you've done many years, and we can't wait to keep track of all the events this year. So thanks for coming in this morning.
Yep, thank you guys.
Absolutely. 9:35 here on 102.7 Mom FM.